Rams Nation, wake up. Our front office is officially all in, and the NFL landscape is trembling. We've made the splash of the offseason, bringing in a league-changing defensive powerhouse to cement our status as the team to beat. Vegas already crowned us the Super Bowl favorites, but is this roster overhaul enough to finally reclaim the throne? We've traded, signed, and reloaded, but there's a massive controversy brewing about what it cost us to get here. Do we really have the ultimate edge? Or is the competition laughing at what we gave up? Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and comment below. The Los Angeles Rams are officially going for it. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the league and positioned them as the current odds makers futures betting favorite for Super Bowl 61, the franchise is aggressively reshaping its roster to dethrone the reigning champion Seattle Seahawks. Despite Seattle's victory in the NFC Championship game just 4 months ago, the Rams are not looking back. Instead, they have executed a series of high-profile acquisitions designed to bolster a defense that needed a serious overhaul. The most significant move was the blockbuster trade with the Cleveland Browns to acquire Myles Garrett. As a two-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Garrett brings a record-breaking pedigree to Los Angeles, having set a league-best mark of 23 sacks last season alone. This addition is the centerpiece of a broader strategy to solidify the defensive front, even if it meant parting ways with emerging star Jared Verse. The team is clearly betting that the sheer force of Garrett's presence will redefine their defensive identity immediately. Beyond the defensive line, the front office secured the secondary by trading for all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie from the Kansas City Chiefs and immediately signing him to the richest contract at his position in the entire league. To complement that star power, the Rams also brought in Jalen Watson, effectively importing a proven cornerback duo from Kansas City. With the reliable Matthew Stafford signed to a 2-year contract extension at 38 years old, the organization's intent is undeniable. They are loading up on elite talent, aiming to translate these massive roster upgrades into a championship run. The fans are already rallying behind this bold new direction as they shout "Ram it" while looking toward a potentially dominant upcoming season. The decision to go all in on Myles Garrett, Trent McDuffie, and Jalen Watson represents a complete departure from the status quo in Los Angeles. While the Seahawks chose a path of continuity, keeping 49 of the 53 players from their championship roster, the Rams chose transformation. This contrast in philosophy is exactly why the betting markets have flipped in favor of the Rams. However, the move for Garrett came at a notable cost, specifically the departure of Jared Verse. For 2 years, Verse was a nightmare for opposing offensive coordinators, including those in Seattle, who had to spend entire game weeks scheming specifically to neutralize his 12-sack, 22-tackle-for-loss production. By trading Verse, the Rams have shifted their defensive profile from homegrown consistency to immediate top-tier veteran impact. This matters right now because the team is essentially betting its future on the performance of aging superstars and expensive new arrivals. With Stafford nearing the end of his career, the window for a championship is tight. Every practice rep and every adjustment made at Rams Village and Woodland Hills carries immense weight. The team is not just hoping to compete, they are constructing a roster that, on paper, features some of the most decorated defensive players in the modern era. The pressure will be on these high-profile acquisitions to justify their price tag as soon as the season kicks off. While Seattle maintains the chemistry of a team that just hoisted the Lombardi Trophy, the Rams are banking on pure, raw talent to overwhelm their division rivals. The shift is tactical, financial, and incredibly bold, setting the stage for one of the most anticipated rematches in recent NFL history when these two teams finally meet on Christmas night at Lumen Field. Understanding why this matters requires looking at the internal mechanics of the Rams' defensive transition. The departure of Jared Verse is not just a statistical loss, it represents the sacrifice of a young, high-motor edge rusher who played 90% of defensive snaps during the NFC title game. Replacing that level of reliability with Myles Garrett is an attempt to elevate the team's ceiling, but it changes the structural dynamic of the defense. Similarly, the secondary overhaul led by Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson is an attempt to solve the specific issues that plagued the team in last season's losses to Seattle. By bringing in elite covermen, the Rams are clearly targeting the passing attacks that previously troubled them. This move for established stars instead of development phase players underscores an urgent push for immediate success. The team is counting on these players to hit the ground running without the need for extensive acclimation periods. Meanwhile, the Seahawks are watching these developments with interest but remain steadfast in their own identity. Coaches like Mike McDonald emphasize that the core of their championship team remains intact, pointing to the 20 out of 22 starters returning as their biggest strength. The Rams' strategy is a direct challenge to that stability, forcing a confrontation between a team that is running it back and a team that has completely reinvented its defensive core. As the offseason progresses, the narrative of the NFC West is dominated by whether the Rams' star-studded approach can dismantle the cohesive, well-drilled defensive system that brought a ring to Seattle. It is a classic clash of philosophies, the calculated, veteran-heavy super team model versus the disciplined, chemistry-driven approach of the reigning champions. The focus for the Rams is now squarely on integration. With the arrival of Myles Garrett and the new secondary tandem, the defensive scheme must adapt quickly to maximize the output of these individuals. This matters because a talent-heavy roster is only as effective as the coordination between its parts. The front office's decision to commit record-breaking money to Trent McDuffie is an explicit signal that they expect a lockdown defensive backfield, while Garrett is expected to provide a consistent pass-rushing threat that forces opponents to change their entire game plan. The rest of the roster, including defensive ends like Brandon Fisk and Kobe Turner, will need to elevate their play to support these stars. This development is crucial because the team is operating with a clear, time-sensitive directive. Maximize Matthew Stafford's remaining years. The Rams have essentially removed the excuse of needing to grow into their roles. With this talent level, the expectations are for perfection from week one. The league is watching closely to see if this aggressive roster building translates into the dominance that the betting odds suggest. Seattle's coaches have already acknowledged that they will adjust their schemes, showing they are not taking the threat lightly. They know the Rams are a different beast than the one they faced in the NFC Championship. The pressure on the coaching staff to blend these new personalities into a winning unit is immense, and the early reports from organized team activities suggest that the team is embracing this challenge with intensity. It is a high-stakes gamble on top-tier talent, and for the fans watching the odds shift, the anticipation for a Christmas night showdown in Seattle has reached a boiling point. Looking at the landscape heading into the 2026 season, the Rams have effectively placed a massive target on their own backs. By becoming the favorites to win Super Bowl 61, they have invited immense scrutiny. Every tackle made by Myles Garrett and every pass broken up by Trent McDuffie will be analyzed through the lens of their contracts and trade costs. The team has committed to a path that leaves little room for error. Their secondary, now anchored by McDuffie and Watson, must prove that they are superior to the depth-heavy, technically sound unit that Seattle prides itself on. The departure of Jared Verse means the burden of the pass rush falls squarely on the shoulders of the new defensive arrivals, who must maintain the level of pressure that defined the Rams' defense last year. This is the defining story of the year, a team that refuses to rebuild, opting instead to reload with premium assets to reclaim the division and the league title. Seattle, for its part, remains confident in its proven, cost-effective, and chemistry-based model. As Mike McDonald noted, they will simply adjust to whatever the Rams bring to the field. For the Rams, the success of this strategy hinges entirely on the ability of their new stars to integrate seamlessly and perform at an elite level under the pressure of championship expectations. Whether it is through the veteran leadership of Matthew Stafford on offense or the sheer disruptive potential of their new-look defense, the goal is singular and clear. The franchise is betting that this mix of experience and explosive capability is exactly what it takes to climb back to the top of the mountain. All eyes are now on them as they prepare for a season defined by the pursuit of greatness.